of gold. Plus, there are zero vault fees. With several active deals open right now, they're taking new clients today. Learn more at interestongold.com/David. That's interestongold.com/David. From the heart of Central Florida, you're listening to the most electrifying show in media, A Neighbor's Choice. I'm your host, David Granosky. Welcome back to our exciting show. We're looking at the aftermath of this 2020 presidential election night. Wow, what a circus. What a interesting time. And isn't it interesting to see the Wisconsin turnout? A DC corruption group says this turnout that Wisconsin allegedly had is very interesting. It's literally 5 plus standard deviations from the mean. He said that's actually equals statistically practically impossible. And just for reference, Wisconsin turnout in 1960 presidential election was 72.99%. 1964 it was 68. 1968, 65. In 1972 it was 62%. You know, it goes on, 66, 67, 63, 61, 68, 58, 67. In 2004 it goes to 73%. 2008 it goes to 69%. 2012, it goes to 70-something percent. 2016, it goes to 67%. But in 2020, guess what? With their new little COVID fear-mongering convenient little mail-in program, it goes to 89.25%. Wow. 89.25% in 2020, even though other states have not shown that kind of huge jump in turnout on behalf of Biden, that Trump's actually overperformed what he did in 2016 in many of these states. It's a joke, man. I don't buy this stuff these people lie about everything. They still tell you that it's bad to eat meat. Why would you listen to them about anything? The same goofballs that tell you it's good for your immune system to lock yourself in the house, don't do anything social, don't get exposure to viromes and all the viruses that your body needs to keep an active, healthy immune system. And then they tell you don't eat meat, eat lots of plant goop, eat lots of vegetable oils, industrial waste products, margarine. They tell you to eat lots of sugar, lots of high fructose, consumption. And then these people have the audacity to say, trust us, our media authority will give you the official account once we've had an unprecedented 89% turnout in frickin' Wisconsin. 5 plus standard deviations from the mean of the actual turnout that have happened in previous presidential elections. In 2016, it was 67. 2008, remember that was a huge, big turnout thing, 69%. 2004, it's 73%. But somehow it jumps up to 89%. Oh, so convenient with their new little scam program of universal mail-in ballots. Who knows what they're doing in there? And if we're going to have a democracy, they better make sure that every vote is a legitimate vote with a credible basis for being an actual living human being who has the right to vote. Because you cannot keep changing the rules on people. You're going to have a third world banana republic very quickly. And meanwhile, you have the goons, the Bernie Sanders type people who want to have democratic socialism, which is just another word for corporate fascism. That's where big business and big government get together and collude together to extract resources from you, the average person working 2 jobs, busting your tail, working as hard as you can to feed your family. You can't keep up with the rate of inflation. You can't keep up with how they swindle and destroy the purchasing power of your dollar. But these clowns, these lowlifes that continue to want to predate on the poor, predate on with false promises saying, hey, we'll give you free health care. not telling you that that free healthcare will choke the life out of all of the emerging medicine, which is upending the established paradigm of big pharma medical science. They are going to, if you have government healthcare take over, it's going to eliminate non-toxic alternative paradigms of medical research and care from having any chance of taking hold in this society. It's already on the margins now because the media doesn't tell the truth about disruptive medical information. They get too much money from big pharma. But if you have government takeover, they already have vast majority control of government of healthcare already. But if they control almost 100% of it, like corporate fascists like Bernie Sanders want to do, what are you going to have? You're going to have a total destruction of non-toxic, very, very inexpensive, very, very effective metabolic, mitochondrial-based medicine that disrupt the entire big pharma paradigm of medicine. That's what makes me mad when I see these democratic socialists, these so-called democratic socialists like Bernie Sanders waiting in the wings to do a number on your life. I don't care if they're well-intended. They're ignorant as can be. And they're arrogant in their ignorance. It's one thing to be ignorant, but when you are arrogant about your ignorance, as these people are, it becomes a very, very bad problem. Because when you have people who have no real world experience, they don't know how free markets work, they don't know what the mitochondrial theory of medicine is, they don't know anything that's outside the box. They're very conventional, vanilla, lemming type thinking that's going on with folks like Bernie Sanders. They just say, hey, all I know is state worship. We got a problem with healthcare, state worship. Got a problem with the planet, state worship. Got a problem, there's a poor person, state worship. Is there a homeless person? State worship. There's a new virus? State worship. Someone's rich? State worship. Need to deliver the mail? State worship. Got an election? State worship. That's all they know. Worship the state and sacrifice something, and sacrifice your freedom, sacrifice your neighbor, sacrifice something to the state. That's the only playbook they have. Folks like Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez. They're just sitting there like jackals. And I call them corporate fascists because they want select businesses who are going to play ball with big government and regulations to manage with an alliance the government mandated economy that they want. And that's corporate fascism. That's what Mussolini defined as corporate fascism, the marriage between big government and big business. One man's democratic socialism is just another man's corporate fascism. Same deal. That's what you expect with these clowns that have never had real world experience. They don't know about real hard work. They don't know anything about trying to survive in this rigged economy that they've helped build with their time in DC, like Bernie Sanders. All they know is they want credit, they want worship, and they want their God, the state, to be worshiped. They want their God, their state, to expand. And they will sacrifice you and any neighbor they need to for the greater good, because they buy into the lie that it's better that one man die than the whole nation perish. And that's their mantra. That's their mantra. And their only understanding is might makes right. Violence is the way of the world. Violence is the glue that binds us together. So they coercively tax you here. They coercively regulate you there. And if you resist, they fine you. If you resist, they put you in jail for nonviolent victimless crime. They do this over and over and over again. They only know force. They only know coercion. They don't know how to do thinking outside the box. They look at a problem like cancer, and they don't think like Dr. Thomas Seyfried does of Boston College that, hey, maybe we've got the genetic theory of cancer wrong. Maybe we need to do the mitochondrial theory. Maybe we need to look at the evidence that it's a mitochondrial problem, a metabolic problem that can be treated with non-toxic drugs that are dirt cheap and therapeutic ketosis. You tell that to Bernie Sanders, he's going to say, huh? He's going to say, well, let my commissar decide. And the commissar is going to say, no, we're going to stick with the old paradigm of big radiation, big chemo, big surgery, things that can be patented, especially. And that's how they do it. That's what your grand universal garbage healthcare is. You don't have any opportunity for disruptive innovation. You have to have a free society with free competing elements in a market to have disruptive competition, disruptive innovation. If you monopolize it, it de facto eliminates disruptive ideas and disruptive paradigms that supplant the existing paradigm. How hard is this to understand? Apparently very hard for the bigots that are a part of groups like so-called democratic socialists and the Antifa. Antifa doesn't understand anything but decadence. They are a decadent, spoiled, rich, bigoted, hateful people. They want to hurt people, punch people, kick people, scream in people's face, and vote for warmongers and banker bailout people like Biden. And they're a joke. They're a farce. They don't know what anti-fascism if it hit them in the face. That's all they know is, I want power. I'm greedy. I want decadence. I want to feel self-righteous. I want to feel better than other people. So I'm going to put on a ninja outfit that looks like something from the Ninja Turtles movie, and I'm going to run around and act like I'm a tough guy, when in reality, all they're doing is burning down Black-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses, and attacking grandmas that get in their way. That's not interesting to me. That's not an interesting set of minds to me. They don't know anything about anthropology. They don't understand anything about ethics. They don't have anything to offer. They don't have any understanding of culture. They have no appreciation for history, and they have no understanding of humility and the idea that human power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They don't even have any concept of that. All they know is they react to stimulus. They are reactionaries. They are a neo-reactionary movement with dumb Luddite ideas. You say, hey, they say, hey, we got pollution. The whole planet's going to blow up. It's a global warming. You say, okay, hey, help me develop low temperature nuclear energy. And they say, is that part of the Green New Deal that, my God, the state wants? You say, no, it's just, this is what, venture business owners and entrepreneurs are putting their own money, you're not stealing like you guys do, putting their own money and their own risk and reputation to create low temperature nuclear energy. And they say, is that part of the Green New Deal and what government wants to worship and needs to be worshiped with? Is that what the government tells us to do? If you say, no, you don't need government. If we get this in here, we can create clean energy, too cheap to meter, better than wind farms, better than solar panels, and it can be way better for the environment, and everybody can have decentralized power, but you don't need government subsidy to do it. And they say, oh, if it doesn't have government sacrifice, government power involved, I don't want to have it. So you say, to hell with you then. You're a useless idiot for criminals in high places and tyrants. If you can't even have a conversation with people and try to help them solve the problem that they themselves have, such as pollution or climate change, and they don't want to have a conversation with people who are actually, it's like if you're starving and someone says, here's food and here's water, and they say, no, is this provided by the government that I worship? I can only accept stuff that has been stolen by government. It has to be materials that the government has stolen or has been sacrificed in honor of the state. And you're like, no, but you're dying. Here's some water and food. You need this. You're starving. And they're like, no, I don't want it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do at that point? That's the problem we have with so many folks in our culture. Luckily, millions and millions more are waking up to the TV programming, but some are lagging behind. And we got to be able to find a way to help our neighbors who are lagging behind in this victimist ideology so that they can get on board with human liberty. It's not about elections. It's not about picking a candidate and picking a team. It's about thinking for yourself and having your economic and personal liberty back so that your families can thrive together. We'll be back in just a second with more on A Neighbor's Choice. I'm David Gornosky. Email me hello@aneighborschoice.com. We'll continue to follow this election. Trump's saying they're winning. His campaign's announced they've won Pennsylvania. There's indications they may win Arizona. There's also indications from the media / Democratic Party that they are, losing, and they're going to announce that Biden's the winner. It's just a big mind game. Don't let it distract you. Democracy is the God that failed. I heard that somewhere. Take it to the bank. The founders knew democracy was a joke. That's why they limit it as much as possible. But hey, wise guys today think it's so great because they don't even remember what history taught them just a few minutes ago. But that's all right. We're going to build liberty with technology and new ways of taking care of medicine, new ways of thinking about problems within our neighborhoods, and that is based on freedom and nonviolence. Back in just a moment. If you want to grow your savings these days, it's good to own gold. Who wants to hold dollars in a savings account earning 0.5%? Instead, check out Monetary Metals, started by my frequent guest, Keith Weiner. They put your gold to work and you earn 2 to 4% interest, paid out not in dollars, but in more ounces of gold. Plus, there are 0 vault fees. With several active deals open right now, they're taking new clients today. Learn more at interestongold.com/David. That's interestongold.com/David. David Granosky here. Let me tell you about a man named Gabriel. Every day, Gabriel puts on his boots and drives across America to make sure our store shelves stay stocked with the food people count on. See, Gabriel served our country overseas. He knows that America stands for freedom, quality, and caring for others the way we would like to be treated. That's why when Gabriel saw food shelves getting low during the pandemic, he hit the road as a driver with Oakley Transport. In the land of the free, where no one should go hungry, we need heroes like Gabriel to help keep America fed. CDLA driving professionals. Join Oakley Transport today. Keep America fed. Visit oakleytransport.com or call them today at 1-877-8-TANKER. That's 1-877-8-TANKER. Are you ready to transform your career? Jess Smith was too. She was stuck on a job that was controlling her life, consuming her free time, and offering little opportunity for growing her pay. Then she found FinTech Mortgage Association, and she never looked back. FinTech Mortgage Association makes home lending simple, and they take care of home buyers like family. Using technology to make everyone's life easier, FinTech Mortgage Association equips each of their loan solutions architects with the tools they need to build a career with a schedule they control, a product they can take pride in, and an earning potential that is life-changing. Unleash your true potential. Join FinTech Mortgage Association. Visit finmay.com. That's FINMAE.com. You're in charge now. NMLSID 1492187. Equal housing lender. If you want to grow your savings these days, it's good to own gold. Who wants to hold dollars in a savings account earning 0.5%? Instead, check out Monetary Metals, started by my frequent guest, Keith Weiner. They put your gold to work and you earn 2 to 4% interest, paid out not in dollars, but in more ounces of gold. Plus, there are 0 vault fees. With several active deals open right now, they're taking new clients today. Learn more at interestongold.com/David. That's interestongold.com/David. So, what an apocalyptic time, the unveiling. The word apocalypse means an unveiling of reality, an unveiling. And you can see that media narratives are unveiling how fractured a state centralized, big government, big business managed system really is. It's fracturing. You got one narrative on one channel. You got an underground narrative on other channels. The ones who are the undergrounds, they get deleted. They get blocked on Twitter because Twitter represents corporate communism. That means corporate profits for them, communist scraps for the rest of us with garbage medicine and stinky, outdated ideas for energy. But that's okay. We are here on A Neighbor's Choice to sort it out. We'll let you know if anything breaks out new. We see, press conference was just done in Pennsylvania, where former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi says we are thrilled to have won Pennsylvania. So they're claiming that they've won it. Eric Trump was at the event too. He says Democrats are trying to cheat. So Jack Posobiec of One America News, who we've had on the program, He's a big Trump supporter, but he also is pretty good at giving on-the-ground data as it happens at these events. He says Pam Bondi at Trump Philly press conference says Trump poll watchers have been not allowed to properly observe counting of mail-in ballots to release video. So that's interesting to see. We're getting some indication that the Michigan Department of State, upon taking office as Michigan Secretary of State, Secretary Benson informed Southern Poverty Law Center leadership that she would be stepping down from the board. Her responsibilities in Michigan are her priority and focus. So apparently the Secretary of State of Michigan was a member of Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a very, very vicious and aggressive, politically charged organization. So that's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting to see that that's the kind of impartial observers. You had Attorney General Shapiro in Pennsylvania saying before the election, I think the day of the election or the day before, on Twitter saying, if all the votes are counted, Biden will win. These people are so sleazy. And it's just insane to see how this all breaks apart. A listener just tweeted, Trump tweeted out, we have claimed for electoral vote purposes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which won't allow legal observers, the state of Georgia, and the state of North Carolina, each one of which has a big Trump lead. Additionally, we hereby claim the state of Michigan if, in fact, there was a large number of secretly dumped ballots, as has been widely reported. So this is a contested election. This will be interesting to see, folks. It's just ever-changing. Let's go to some other comments of some of you listening on our video stream on YouTube and Facebook. One of you says, my interest in U.S. politics began when the woke left attacked my hobbies. Right now, I only consume Japanese media. I fear U.S. corporations might try to impose their Puritan policies on Japanese media. And then he commented again that the imperialist U.S. left are now trying to destroy the Hispanic heritage of us Latinos. And I think, again, that was a big story from last night, no matter what this thing turns out to be, that Hispanics, it wasn't just, we saw what happened in Florida. We saw the huge energy for Trump with Cuban and Venezuelan voters in Miami and elsewhere around the state. We saw him perform better than he did before in Pinellas and other places. And we also saw in Texas on the border where they have large Mexican populations moving in the direction of Trump. So it wasn't just a Cuban phenomenon. Of course, the racists that are normalized by the mainstream left, they try to make it they try to spin it and say it's just Cubans or so forth, but it's not. It's a large number of folks from various backgrounds who said, I've had enough of you trying to force transgenderism onto young children, media. I've had enough of you trying to export our jobs and turn us into peasants, neo-feudalism. They've had enough. They're sick and tired of not having school choice. They're sick and tired of endless wars. They're tired of the sacrifice for the state. And that's a great thing, because that means they're moving in the direction of liberty, and we'll take that and we'll build on that. Back in just a moment with more on this election fallout. We'll continue to follow it and break it as it comes out.
There is all kinds of lunacy going on.
Yeah.
The madness of 2020.
No.
Weekdays 11 to 2.
I'm just so fed up with these Democrats. It's unbelievable.
Get it straight from Chris Plant.
They're so hypocritical. It makes me sick.
It's the Chris Plant Show.
This has just got me going off.
And the left is waging war against the police in the United States.
Telling it like it is.
You should be thanked profusely for getting to the point.
You're a voice of reason in the sea of idiots.
The Chris Plant Show. Weekdays 11 to 2. News Talk 1040 WHBO.
your voice, your votes. Trump campaign says it's filing a lawsuit in 3 states, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, to contest the counting of mailed-in ballots. In Philadelphia, President Trump's attorney Rudy Giuliani said election officials in Philadelphia did not give Trump campaign reps access to closely observe the processing of mailed-in ballots.
But we're not going to let them get away with it. They're not going to steal this election. This election gets decided by the people.
ABC News contributor Rahm Emanuel, a Democrat, says he thinks the Trump camp is hoping for a consolation prize of Pennsylvania from the courts.
He's basically thrown a total series of dust out on Michigan and Wisconsin, knowing that it will go against him, so he can concentrate his firepower. If you're going to rule against me there, I want help on Pennsylvania. And the judges, acting a little like Solomon-esque, are going to say, okay, if we gave you those two, maybe we could throw it the other way.
The president and his campaign baselessly claiming victory in various battleground states, with millions of votes still to be counted. Continuing coverage, Chuck Severson, ABC News.
So what are your thoughts? Do you think this is going to be a in the bag, unique little election victory for Joe Biden? Do you think they're stealing it? Do you think that's what's going on in these states? I mean, it looks pretty fishy to me. I mean, you see that 89% turnout in 2020. It's insane. In Wisconsin there, when they've never had that before by a lot. And it just so happens to break like almost exclusively. All this huge surge comes over to Biden. And the same thing happening in these other Democrat-run states. I mean, these are the same people that lie to your face with no basis and tell you that red meat is a dangerous thing for you to eat. Meanwhile, they're promoting you to eat immune-suppressing junk food in a pandemic. Can you believe it? Don't listen to these liars. They're wrong about everything. They were wrong in their predictions of the numbers of this election. They said there'd be a 4% chance. I mean, what's Matt Drudge doing right now? He's probably going to look for a great reset. Everything he did has abandoned his independent streak away from the herd mentality of the groupthink media. But it's just disturbing to see so many people swept up in the hate of this groupthink in the media. You see it all around us. And though I mean, who knows what they're going to try to do next, but it's interesting to see the anger and the viciousness from the left, and seeing, lots of African Americans and Hispanics reject their ideology. I'm seeing this quote by Eugene Scott. Says, these days I'm reminded quite often that you do not have to be white to support white supremacy. And that's because they were seeing Hispanics and African Americans reject the Biden, mass warmonger, mass incarcerator. And then Ida Bay Wells, I guess she's with the 1619 Project. She says, also, whiteness is not static and it is expandable when necessary. So whiteness is not static, and it is expandable when necessary. A lot of folks we don't think of as white think of themselves as white because the lines have never been entirely clear. That's the beauty of white supremacy. It is extremely adaptable. So they're using this racist language to try to say anybody who doesn't accept their dead old white people like Herbert Marcuse and Gramsci and all their little Michel Foucault and all these people, Derrida, that they get their ideas for critical theory. If you don't accept their dead old white people's ideas, Foucault and so forth, Marcuse, different folks, then you are a white supremacist, even if you're not white. It's like some kind of, they're trying to scapegoat people's skin tone. This is racist. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. And they're doing it on behalf of a guy like Joe Biden, who spent his entire career locking up minorities for political power. He wouldn't even be where he is today if he hadn't used flesh and blood minorities as a scapegoat for political power. And these people have the audacity to use the word whiteness as some kind of scarlet letter, to use someone's skin tone as some kind of evil. This is the same thing that the Nazis used against Jews, to demonize an entire ethnicity as a monolithic entity that is so evil that you don't even have to be a member of that ethnicity to be a secret harbinger of that ethnicity's evil. What a pathetic disgrace. The New York Times is a joke, putting up these people, these fascists, racist fascists, who are sad that they're warmonger. Joe Biden is having a hard time keeping people of color in lockstep to his ideology of bombing and foreign aid and grifting and corruption and destruction of jobs, destruction of our purchasing power, destructions of our economy. These people have no shame. They're just hateful, racist, in my opinion, fascists, because they don't care about anybody's economic or personal liberty. They don't care about actually stopping the occupation of all these countries around the world that Biden wants to stay in and has pushed us in through the years. They don't care about actually stopping human suffering. They just care about power. That's why they work for a warmongering group like the New York Times. I believe they use the cover of a pandemic, which is a real pandemic, but they use it as an excuse to create an unprecedented scam of unsolicited mailed ballots in the exact dim-run states that Trump won in 2016. They use ballot harvesting and mail-in ballots without the proper postmark, and that can take care of the rest. And that's what they're busy doing right now. The media is saying, nothing to see here, folks. Move along. We've got caution tape out. We've got a spill on aisle 1. Watch out. Everything is going according to plan. We don't want someone who doesn't use our speech codes in the White House. We just can't handle that much risk. They have to say nothing to see here. Move along, low information people. Go back to your Netflix. Do what your masters tell you to. They don't like that it was so close. They were scared. So they're doing their little fix-up job or whatever it is they're doing. You know, who knows? Maybe there is real votes, but let's see it. Let's have third-party confirmation. Let's have independent confirmation that all these late morning, these early morning dumps coming in. The Dems took a lot of dumps on our election when everybody was asleep. They were just dumping all over, and they're still dumping. They're dropping dumps. Lots of dumps all over the rule of law last night and today. And these dumps are going on with people like Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a radical group. Got the Secretary of State of Michigan. You got a political hack like Shapiro of Attorney General in Pennsylvania saying if all the votes are counted, there's no way Trump's going to win before the election happens. I mean, these people are not honest brokers. Speaking of another example of how democracy is weaponized ignorance writ large, closer to home here in Florida, where we're broadcasting from, Florida turned out in repudiation of the Biden-Harris warmongering ticket. But they also turned out to vote for the raising of the minimum wage to $15 an hour, which is not a good thing. You don't want to have price fixing. Price fixing ruins jobs. Price fixing eliminates jobs and causes prices to increase around different sectors of the economy. That's the last thing we need when we've had all this new credit pumped into our economy artificially because of the COVID stuff. Last thing we need is to have more rigging of our economy with good intentions. It's great that everybody has a great wage, but when you price fix, you distort the market signals for what entrepreneurs and business owners need to know to be able to make their calculations effectively to create wealth and profit for their communities and their families. So this is an example that, it's not about one team is good or one team's bad, because obviously there was a turnout for Trump in Florida, but a lot of that turnout translated into going along with, increasing the minimum wage. That's going to ruin jobs. It's not good. David online, a listener listening on our live stream on YouTube, says, watch out for Michigan. Detroit is corrupt. Eddie, another listener online, says the election is rigged. How does 138,000 votes come out of nowhere in Michigan, all for Biden? That's what a lot of people are wondering. They think we wouldn't know that. Now new votes coming in. I'm disgusted. Another one says, move along, peasants. Wildly dim favored dumps. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make sense. You look at the chart and it just skyrockets up right after they stop the vote count, the counting of the votes. So this is a really unique moment. It's a historical moment in our country and our culture. And a lot of the whole world's watching us. And I think the world realizes that America is a country that is really wrestling to get the establishment elites off their backs. They're trying very desperately to get the one-party rule with two wings of it to stop trying to have a near monolithic monopoly of sense-making, of understanding of what's going on. The world is watching, and they're seeing that human beings in America are not going to put up with the gaslighting. They're not going to put up with being told what to do, to shut up, to be told what medicine they're forced to take, what they're allowed to do, what they're allowed to say, how they're allowed to dress, what they're allowed to speak. They have to wear a mask. They want to do a mask. They want to do a mask mandate. Who wants to go along with that? I can't even imagine that there's any significant amount of voters in many of the states around this country who want a national mask mandate like Biden-Harris promised. Nobody wants a potential another 30-day lockdown, which wrecked the economy viciously. And now they want to do it again, they're saying. So we don't want these people, and I don't think the American people voted for those people. I just think this is a desperate attempt at trying to do whatever they can to maintain their stranglehold of control in our society. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. We'll continue in just a moment. I'm David Gornosky. You're listening to A Neighbor's Choice. Remember, our website is aneighborschoice.com. That's aneighborschoice.com. You can go there if you miss a radio episode. Also, we have our online-only podcast called Things Hidden, which is available on the website, aneighborschoice.com. You'll see articles. You'll see interviews with the top newsmakers in culture, politics, economics, and innovation. So you want to go to aneighborschoice.com. And if you want to contact us, email us hello@aneighborschoice.com. We'll be back with more of your comments when we continue live on A Neighbor's Choice. Hello, this is David Gornosky with A Neighbor's Choice. I've got a mission for you. I'm a big believer in eating family farm-raised, high-quality grass-fed beef. That's why I'm a frequent customer of White Oak Pasture, a 6th-generation beautiful farm in Southwest Georgia. Support sustainable, delicious meat of the highest quality. Ask for White Oak Pasture's beef at your local grocery here in Florida, or go to whiteoakpastures.com, and first-time customers get 20% off on purchases with our exclusive coupon code NEIGHBOR.
Are you ready to transform your career? Jess Smith was too. She was stuck in a job that was controlling her life, consuming her free time, and offering little opportunity for growing her pay. Then she found FinTech Mortgage Association, and she never looked back. FinTech Mortgage Association makes home lending simple, and they take care of home buyers like family. Using technology to make everyone's life easier, FinTech Mortgage Association equips each of their loan solutions architects with the tools they need to build a career with a schedule they control, a product they can take pride in, and an earning potential that is life-changing. Unleash your true potential. Join FinTech Mortgage Association. Visit finmay.com. That's FINMAE.com. You're in charge now. NMLS ID 1492187, Equal Housing Lender. David Gronowski here. Let me tell you about a man named Gabriel. Every day, Gabriel puts on his boots and drives across America to make sure our store shelves stay stocked with the food people count on. See, Gabriel served our country overseas. He knows that America stands for freedom, quality, and caring for others the way we would like to be treated. That's why when Gabriel saw food shelves getting low during the pandemic, he hit the road as a driver with Oakley Transport. In the land of the free, where no one should go hungry, we need heroes like Gabriel to help keep America fed. CDLA driving professionals. Join Oakley Transport today. Keep America fed. Visit oakleytransport.com or call them today at 1-877-8-TANKER. That's 1-877-8-TANKER. If you want to grow your savings these days, it's good to own gold. Who wants to hold dollars in a savings account earning 0.5%? Instead, check out Monetary Metals, started by my frequent guest, Keith Weiner. They put your gold to work and you earn 2 to 4% interest, paid out not in dollars, but in more ounces of gold. Plus, there are 0 vault fees. With several active deals open right now, they're taking new clients today. Learn more at interestongold.com/David. That's interestongold.com/David.
So I want to remind my listeners and viewers that we cannot put our faith in democracy to solve our problems. Look, I use this as a great illustration. Galileo didn't wait for politics to catch up to his ideas. He just said the truth, and he shifted the paradigm. And Nikola Tesla, he was an engineer, a great inventor of many of the things that we enjoy to this day. He didn't wait for, who's going to be my governor? Who's going to be my president? And then maybe I can lobby them and create a special interest lobby group and then have taxpayers fund my efforts, or, maybe he wanted to, but he didn't do that. He rolled up his sleeves. He just created technology, and it changed the paradigm. Whoever invented the musket, I don't know the name right offhand, but they changed the paradigm. They allowed folks like farmers to be able to have a equal standing against the biggest imperial army of the British Empire at the time of the American Revolution. Technology, innovation, and art, they are way more powerful than politics. You have to remember that. Don't let the media, they worship the state. So when you listen to the media, they're going to want you always glued to politics. But ultimately, politics is a distraction from culture, from art, from science, and from lifestyle, how we live. Do we take care of our health? Do we take care of our family? Do we take care of things like proper education, getting out of government school? Do we stay out of debt? Do we keep a very fiscally responsible lifestyle? Those are things that are more important, my friends. And I want you to focus in on that. Don't let the hallucination of politics and all of the lunchroom drama draw you into that melee. It is an illusion. There's way more important things going on, way more areas where you can have a transformative impact in your world and your life without being stuck on popularity contests to have meaning. And I do think this one is an important one because of the cultural impact of what it represents. And it's clear to me that it's not about who's winning. At the end of the day, it's about what this election represents, which is a total repudiation of the credibility of the corporate press, a total rejection of their lying religiosity, their dogmatic attempt to create racialized politics. The numbers coming out show that people are uniting together, not dividing by racial lines. That's a good thing, in my opinion. I think we need to have that as a path towards respect for the human person. And I think we're going to continue to see the failing media, the awful corporate elites continue to lose control as we continue. They're going to try all the stops, but I think that technology and the market and free people determined to live their life as they see fit will overcome their top-down attempts to control things. So that's a good thing. One thing I do want to switch gears and get your thoughts on real quick is there's, a narrative going on that if Trump does not return with a re-election, or if he does and he goes another 4 years, whichever way, that he's going to be, one of his big plays is going to be creating a media company. What are your thoughts on that? Is there going to be a Trump TV? Is it going to be a Trump TV plus social media plus podcast plus radio? Is that going to be a big 24-hour company? Is he going to get his revenge on the enemies he has in the press by, something that's very Trumpian? I could see him wanting to, whether he wins re-election or not, finish off his career by building a Trump media conglomeration to use social media, video, podcasting, television, radio, to create a pushback against Fox News. He's been having a riff with them for some time. Matt Drudge, he's had a riff with that. So is he going to create a media company, and what would that mean? Would that be a big impact? Would that be a big game changer in the media landscape? Would that be a big influence in culture? How would that shape out? What would be the lineup of guests or talent or personalities on such a media? Is that something he would do? That's something that's been rumored for some time, even back with the first election, 2016. But now we stand, again, not knowing where this election is going. We know where the media and the Silicon billionaires want it to go. We know where the warmongers go. We know where the people who surveil you and surveil innocent citizens, we know where they want it to go. We know where people who want to create havoc and regime change and bloody, horrible situations in countries like Libya, we know where they want this election to go. What the actual truth of the matter is another thing. We know where Mark Zuckerberg, who loves to have alliances with very scary, creepy, fascistic countries around the world, he loves treating Americans with contempt in the way he talks to average people. We know where they want it to go. That's not in dispute. We know they're going to do whatever they can, working together as a PR firm. Biden's been huddling with his press members. Those are his agents. He's their agent. Whatever way you want to look at it, they are lockstep together. They are one party, and the American people is rejecting. They are rejecting the American Pravda. They are rejecting the American Pravda. Even if they push him in with some little slide move that they throw in the Weekend at Bernie's move to get him over the finish line, it is a hollow victory. It is a very deeply culturally hollow victory, because it's the last gasp of a dying establishment with bad ideas, bad groupthink. It's not going to work. And so people are waking up. It's not going to be an easy fight, but it is a progress that people can have so much media gaslighting and still it's this difficult for them to go down and to submit to what the establishment and their warmongers want. Let's hope, by the way, that whatever happens, there's some accountability for the wicked racist stuff that happened with the Russian hoax, where you had all these different agencies weaponizing the FBI, weaponizing all these groups. Such a creepy, disturbing operation that is so 100 times worse than what Nixon did with Watergate. And the media, again, was in on it, just like they seem to be in on doing everything they can to spin the election results for Biden. I mean, folks, this is a big wake-up call. You can see the media for what it is. It is not to be trusted. The corporate press is a fraud. They have lied about what's good for health. They have lied about what's good for this pandemic. They've lied about what's good for the economy. They've lied about getting us into wars, and they're probably lying about what's going on in the vote count going on. So we will continue to watch these developments as they come. And regardless of what happens, we don't put our faith in democracy. It is a failing idol, and it's crumbling in front of its own lies. It's crumbling. It's crumbling over all of the lies that it continues to push us towards. I'm not saying that it's going to be rosy Pollyanna. It's tough. It's always tough to fight for your freedom. It's always tough to do what's right. In a world where everybody's stuck in groupthink, when everybody wants to be a bystander, when everybody wants to vote for crooks like Biden to keep wars going and to keep people locked away, the Obama administration did nothing to help Alice Marie Johnson, who's now out. They did nothing to help Tyneese Hall, who's now out. They've done nothing to help John Bolin, who was in there for a first-time nonviolent offense. He's now out under Trump. They did nothing. And they won't do anything with Biden back in. It'll be business as usual. They are yes men. Kamala Harris is a yes woman to the establishment. The DOJ would tell them, you shut up. You don't tell us who we give clemency to. And they'll do exactly like Obama did. They'll say, yes, sir. You tell me who I need to, and I will go with the established bureaucrats that run D.C. D.C. has contempt for people. They have contempt for your family. They do not know what they're doing. They are locked in mimetic groupthink. They're desperate for power, but their power is fading. They can't sell us on wars like they used to. They can't sell us on their lies like they used to. They can't sell us on their little Hollywood puppet gaslighting campaign like they used to. It just doesn't work as well. People are learning the truth about alternative medicine. They're learning the truth about mitochondrial medicine. They're learning the truth about metabolic theory of medicine. They're learning the truth about clean energy alternatives outside of the politicized fake green energy industry. They're learning the truth because there's a decentralization of media taking place in the digital age, and you and I are a part of it right now. And it takes all forms of media. We will continue to use video. We'll continue to use this radio show. We'll continue to use written word in our articles. We'll continue to use whatever we can to tell the truth, because the truth has its own power. It's like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Set it loose, and it will defend itself. So take heart. You have so much in your power and your control right now. You have the power to educate your mind. You have the power to take charge of your life, to take charge of your thought life, to not allow dark, hateful energies to cloud your judgment. You have the power to take charge of your school and your education. Get out of government schools. You have the power to say no to debt, to get out of debt, to declare bankruptcy if you're caught up in consumer debt so that you're free and nimble from that terrible predatory credit system that we have. You have the power to take charge of your life, to create the business that you've been wanting to create that move in your career that you've been wanting to take. You have the power to take charge of your health, to put in your body what you want to consume, to take charge of your rest, to take charge of your sunlight and your relationships, your social life. It's all within your fingertips. So unleash your freedom, unleash your virtue, and love your neighbor as yourself when you have that freedom. I'm David Gornowski. Godspeed.